Hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Half and Half. I'm here on a lovely Saturday morning. Um, it was very cold yesterday here in Madison, and today I think it's supposed to be like 25 degrees warmer than yesterday. So that is something to really look forward to. Even though the temperature is not super high, it's pretty warm for us up here in the cold weather country. I have a strap and I have a stool, and maybe you do as well. You can use a towel, like a kitchen towel if you don't have a strap. You want some sort of hard surface to sit on. So not a real cushy chair or couch, but maybe a dining room chair, or something that, yeah, maybe you have a stool like I do or a little bench like I do. Don't sit on the cat tree though. I don't think they're stable enough. If you have a cat tree, I'm looking at all our cat trees. That's not a good choice, in case you were wondering. Yeah, we've been working on a routine, getting into the upper body, getting into upper abdominals. Been a little bit of like ankle and knee squat stuff going on as well, which is kind of interesting, right? Thinking about sometimes we think very anatomically, but if we pan out a little bit, we have these movement patterns, like developmental movement patterns. One of the systems, the way we learn to move, is the idea of core to distal. So the core being just the center of the body and the torso, and then the distal being your fingers, your toes, maybe the top of your head and your tailbone. And how do we create relationships between like coming into your center and then moving out to your hands? So maybe you think neck and shoulders have nothing to do with ankles and feet. But that from that point of view, that's one way that they actually connect. And some of these little joints up in the neck can have relationship all the way down to how your ankles are releasing. And what we find is ankles release, neck release, hips often release. Or maybe in order to get your ankles to release and your neck to release, hips need to release and abdominals need to support a little more. So we have lots of little details about us, but we're also one system. How do we make the whole system work? We look along the chain, but then we also try to figure out that whole system. So something to noodle on as we go through our practice today. So sitting, finding your sits bones, feeling up on top of your sits bones, not way back towards the back edge, little to the top, maybe even a little forward of center with the sits bones. And then let's think about where your rib cage is a little bit today. So take the rib cage, tip it a little forward and back. See if you can even feel that isolation. I think for a lot of us, as the rib cage moves, the pelvis also moves, right? Those are kind of one thing. It's not a bad way to move, but let's isolate it a little bit. Leave your pelvis in place. See if you can feel what it's like to let your chest drop, the back of your ribs open, and then to feel your chest lift without your pelvis shifting. Maybe your lower ribs shoot forward. We're all the time telling you not to shoot your lower ribs forward. This moment right here, maybe you feel them shoot forward a little, but then they have to move back, right? And then next time you come up, let the chest lift, let the ribs go out a little bit. Now see if you can send the ribs back without completely dropping the chest, right? So there's maybe a little bit of softening in the chest, like a sliding down in the ribs. If you think of the ribs like blinds, we take the blinds and we turn the blinds down. We do that little screw and they drop down the other way. So your ribs kind of like blinds fold down, right? But your spine stays in place. Your hips stay in place, all that. All right, we find that. Now let's do a little bit with the head and the neck. We've done our easy neck movement. We've done our orienting movement, seeing the space as you move your head. What do you see? Do you see the walls? Do you see the furniture? Do you see your body, like your shoulder as you turn your head out of your peripheral vision? Do you see out the window? Take a little bit of time to observe all the different things that you might take in. And then you might take in a little bit of the sound in the room. There's a little analog clock ticking for me. You can hear the fan running. Just heard Scott exhale. All sorts of little sounds you might hear as well. And then bringing your awareness, attention straight ahead because it lines your spine up, right? We've got pelvis, we've got nice ribs with the blinds folded down. We've got the nice alignment with the head. Vision is aware but not tight. Encircle the shoulder girdle. So now we're kind of multi-attentive. Or like Scott likes to say, pan back. Let our awareness pan back a little so that you can be aware both of how your spine is lined up and how your shoulder girdle is moving. So as your shoulder girdle moves around, as you make these little circles, you don't slide your ribs forward and back. You don't tip your pelvis forward and back. You don't tip your head down to do it. Or maybe you just notice that that happens a little. You're attentive to both. All right, let's take a little bit of forward tilt and then back to center. So spend a good amount of time lining up the pelvis, soft lines down, ribs in the front. Nice easy neck. All of that moves together as you take a tilt forward and back. Here's my core. Here's my central channel. A little bit more moving, my torso. Now observe this time as you shift your weight forward. Do you feel how your feet find the floor a little more? And then as you come back, your pelvis takes more of your weight. So coming up to standing is a process of shifting your weight onto your feet. Coming down to sitting is a process of shifting your weight onto your pelvis. So we are taking the edges of that process and feeling more weight on my feet now as I tip forward. Here's these first moment of my pelvis taking the weight. Relaxing the ankles as you do it. Relaxing the hips, relaxing the knees. All right, and we're ready to take a shift up to standing. If you need to adjust your feet, adjust your feet. Make sure your heels can still really be on the floor as you relax your ankles. Maybe you use your hands on your chair a little if you want. Maybe they're by your side. You take a little shift forward, and then the pelvis comes forward as the knees go back, as the head lines up over your feet. Head, tail, lengthen. Ankles release. Come back up. So let's try a couple, not all the way to the chair, but towards the chair. Knees go forward, heels, ankles go back, tail goes back. And then undo all that folding. Body becomes an accordion. Fold that accordion at the ankles, knees, hips, head. And then we open the accordion. Maybe you go a little lower. At some point, your sits bones might touch the chair. My sits bones are touching the chair. I can feel my ankles kind of tighten up as that happens. So I'm going to do a couple where I don't go all the way to the chair. Just kind of be aware of that. Not the worst thing for your ankles to tighten up. But I'm going to explore not tightening up my ankles. Last one. We're going to go all the way to the chair this time. If it helps to put your fingers on the chair to come down, go ahead and do that. All right, let's grab your strap / towel. A lot of times we do the arm work first and the squats second. Let's see what it feels like now that you've kind of warmed up hip, ankle, knee, belly position, and then to be in your seated position. Maybe you still feel a little connection to the floor with the feet. Palms up, thumb looped over the strap here, elbows towards your side. We start with that rotator cuff movement, little pull out on the strap. Ribs are still connected, shoulder blades are wide. Release the tension and little pull out and release the tension and pulling out and exhale, release. The blinds on your ribs, right? Fold down and pull and release and pull and release and pull and release. One more time, pulling out and hold. All right, we've got elbows in towards your waist a little bit. They keep drawing in towards each other as you come up into the elbows in line with your shoulders position. Out tipping the rib cage back without shifting the pelvis. Rib blinds are folding down as the arms float up. And then arms come back in. And coming up. And lower back down. And wide back, wide shoulder blades, wide collarbones. We'll pull out. Elbows float towards each other. And lower. And reach up. How's the very back, top of your neck feel as you come up a little higher? Can you imagine a little space through that nape of the neck area? And let your ankles release. 2 more. Last one. And down. Let's keep the strap. Let's take a transition up to standing, however works for you. We'll get rid of the stool. And find a standing position that feels good to you. All right, so now we do this strap and balance work. So shoulders, arm, ankles, feet, nice core, central channel aligned. All those things coming into play. So we do a pull out, inhale and exhale, and pull and release, and pull and exhale, and reach and exhale. Back of the arm, upper back of the shoulder muscle. And 2 more. Exhale, pull out and hold it. Bend both knees, both heels stay down. We just do bend and straighten. Up, lower, and bend. Not so low like the squat. Now we're keeping the torso very straight up and down, so it can't go so low. A little bend. Reach and lower. My rib lines go down as my arms come up. And lower. And reach. And lower. One more time up. Hold it here. And little pulls out. Inhale. Exhale. Take a look at your knuckles and your wrist. Knuckles don't point up, they push forward. And pull. And release. Inhale. Exhale. Pull. Release. Pull. Release. Back of the neck really opening. Pull. Bend your knees. Now we go to one heel coming up as you reach overhead. Back to both feet. And push. And lower. My shoulders glide up. My armpits lengthen. My rib lines fold down. Reach and lower and reach and lower. Two more. Up and little pulls out here. Pull and release. My collarbones and shoulder blades are very lifted off my rib cage in this position. And somehow my neck doesn't feel stuck either, right? Doesn't mean my neck isn't working at all, but it doesn't feel locked up. Two more. Pull and hold. Bend your knees, shoulders glide up, blades come together, you find a balance, and then back to center. They go up and together and down. I've got my foot coming up to my knee. Your foot might go to your ankle, or it might just go to the tips of your toes on the floor. Inhale, exhale, reach. As the arms reach up and back, the ribs keep folding down and up and all the way down. And little circles, little easy turn of the head. All right, strap those off to the side. You're going to find your way to the floor. We've got lots of ways to go to the floor. I'm going to play with a low squat this time. So maybe you roll to the floor and you go hands and knees. I'm going to do that hip, ankle, knee squat. See how low I can get. Then I'm going to let my spine fold a little and my heels rise up and my hands come to the floor. And then just kind of walk my hands backwards. Use some way to get to the floor. It's good to vary the ways you get to the floor. If you look at me and go, my knees are never going to do that, Colette, do some other version to the floor. But nice to explore how you do that. All right, so let's take a moment here lying on your back. Knees bent, feet flat. Sits bones on the chair, right? That feeling of where the sits bones were on the chair. How does that translate to the floor? Maybe your sits bones feel like they have a direct relationship to your heels. Maybe a little bit of line up that way. Or maybe you're more in tune with the back of your pelvis, your upper back. As you exhale, we get a little folding down in the ribs in the chest. Lines fold down. Ribs can come together without pulling on my neck. Open back of the neck. That's getting us ready for our 100 with the head down, which is not as easy as it looks, right? Want to find that feeling of all this drops down, abdominals come on, but we keep the back of the neck open. And as much as you can, the front of the neck relaxed. Arms floating straight off the floor a little bit. One leg floats up. Second leg floats up. You're in tabletop, knees over hips. And we pump. Inhale. Exhale. Breathing in. Now, if you find after practicing this over and over, you just can't get your neck to let go, you might put a little bit of a blanket under your head to do this exercise. A little bit of height sometimes helps. And inhale and exhale. All right, optional head comes up. 5 more. Exhale the blinds closed on your ribs. Two more. Now, if you want, little bonus, keep the head up. Lower one foot down. Lower the other foot down. And as you lower your head, keep sending the ribs down. Stretch out one leg on the floor. Take your opposite leg in. Let's go up and down a little bit. Inhale Flex your foot, release your ankle, bend your knee, and floating up and flex and lower. Leaving your leg up. Now, heavy pelvis, freeze up the hips a little bit. Find your low belly. Draw down the blinds on your ribs. Take your arms by your side. We're ready for single leg circles. Inhale across. Exhale up. Inhale. Exhale. And reach around and up. And can you feel that leg that's on the floor? That's your standing leg. If you were standing up, you'd be balancing on that leg. Can you feel some energy through that heel reaching out and down, helping you stay stable? Reverse. Remembering that strap work in the arms. And bending your knee. Take your foot down, both legs on the floor, like you were standing on both feet. A little bit of sense of that. Feet like they were pushing into the floor if you were standing. Ankles are soft, heels are reaching. Left leg comes in. Inhale, stretch it up. Flex your foot, take it down. Reaching up. Notice if the back of your neck tightens up. Mine did, so maybe yours did too. So the leg reaches up. I don't have to tighten the back of my neck if I pay attention to it. Leaving your leg up. Hands come by your side, supported feeling through the upper back. And we start leg circles. Inhale across. Exhale. And reach and circle. Inhaling. Exhale. Two more. Reverse it. Inhaling. How are you oriented in the space? What do you see in front of you? Last one. And bending your knee. Press your leg a little forward to roll up to sitting. All right, let's flip to hands and knees. Hands under your shoulders. Knees under your hips. So nice open palms. Now, all this talk about the ankles and how the ankles, front of the ankles can release when you work at that joint. We could think a little bit about that at the wrist too. Now, the wrist doesn't bend forward as far as it's not really meant to bend forward the way the ankle is. But we could think of this releasing. And for a lot of people, we can get to shoulders over hands without putting too much pressure on the wrist. Some people, maybe hands a little more forward, or maybe you have fists or forearms if that works better for you. But just imagine that your wrists have a similar kind of quality as your ankles did for some of this work. You might even think of the forearms being relaxed. That inside of the forearm feeling relaxing sometimes helps the wrist to relax and the hands to spread out. And then find your rib connection. Feel where your sits bones are going. Your pelvis is set up. Let's do a little hang the head down and then bring the head back into line. Now, as your head goes down, your ribs don't have to drop down. You just kind of move, like wave your cervical spine. Could the vertebrae in your neck be a little like a wave? And you just let it drop down a little, let the head drop down a little, and then kind of wave the neck back up into place. Then once you feel like you're really lined up from head to sits bones, Let's go to one arm, one leg today. So left arm and right leg are going to reach. We're going to float them up a little bit. And we're going to bring it all back down. And then reset everything. And then opposite arm and leg reach out. Fingers and toes are on the floor to start. And then they float up. And they come all the way back down. So all the time I imagine I'm underwater. I think I just like water a lot. So if I came to this position here with my toes on the floor, my fingers on the floor, and I was in water, as my arm and leg came up, it wouldn't pop up, right? It would have to kind of press a little bit against the water. It would slowly move up and then back in. And then reaching out. Slowly moving the arm and leg up. Last one. Right side, right arm, left leg. All right, let's take a little pressure off the hands for a moment. And as you come back, if this feels good to you, go back to child's pose, or you could just kind of stretch the arms up a little. But move your shoulder girdle around a little, maybe move your rib cage around a little. Let it wiggle, have a little movement. And then as you're ready, we'll go back forward for the plank. Now, you could do what we just did again if the plank doesn't really work for you. Also, you could do this right here that we're going to do on your forearms if that works better. So we set up, hands approximately under your shoulders. Find your pelvis, find your ribs, find your neck. We take the right foot back. We feel the front of the ankle release as the heel reaches. Pressing through the hands, through the right foot until the left foot floats and comes back into plank as well. Right knee comes in, left knee comes in, little break. Reset, wave the neck, close your rib blinds, find your sits bones. Left foot goes back, nice soft front of the left ankle, heel reaching. As you reach your heel, don't tighten your neck. Second foot reaches. We have a plank. Left knee comes in, right knee comes in. Take a little pause. One more time each side. We're going to move through it a little more quickly. And if you like, we're going to do a tiny elbow bend. Not even really a push-up, but a little elbow bend straighten if you like. So one foot back, second foot back, and either holding the plank or little bend in the elbows, maybe 10% down, and then press to straight. Let's do a second one if you want. Little bend in the elbows, press to straight. Right knee comes in, left knee comes in, off, come forward, reset, left leg back, right leg back, holding the plank or little bend the elbow feeling and press through the hands. Ankles reach, heels reach, neck doesn't have to tighten on the second one. Left knee comes in, right knee comes in, coming back. And then finding your way up to standing. Unrolling. And we'll set up for Scott.
Hey there, everybody. So AirPods just made a funny sound, so I hope you can hear me okay. Let's continue this work and start off with a sumo squat. So that's where legs are pretty good distance apart. And then from your hip sockets, turn your legs up. Then wherever your toes are currently pointing, that's where we're going to track the knees and the thighs. Exhale, bend, ankles, knees, and hips. And then inhale, come on up. So just like you worked on with those planks, see if you can keep your whole central channel aligned. Aligned as you come up, aligned as you bend. And just like you explored with Colette, lower ribs tend to push forward. So keep flowing those lower ribs to connect into your abdominals. And at the same time, create that length in your neck. So the next time we're in that triple flexed position, triple referencing ankles, knees, and hips bent. Pause there. So now we're going to work with the pelvic floor and arches of the feet. To do so, lift both heels up a few inches. And keep that right heel lifted where it is. Slowly over a count of 5, descend that left heel down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Touch. Lift back up where it was. Hold that left heel where it is. Now slowly over a count of 5, descend that right heel down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Touch. Lift back where it started. And now both heels slowly descending. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Contact. Feel your heels on the floor. Balls of your feet on the floor. Toes on the floor. Aware of any sensations, maybe in your muscles right now. Then as you drop into whatever those sensations may be, press your feet down to come up. Then turn both feet back forward. Turn your left leg in, right leg out. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. So as we go up and down a few times, continue flowing your lower ribs down into your abdomen. At the same time, long neck, holding your head up high. And next time that knee in the bent position, let's pause there. Lift that right heel up. Slowly over a count of 5, descend that heel down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Contact. Then tip your hips, hand to knee, hand to hip. And sweep that upper arm forward and through. Little turn to look up at your ceiling. And then with the inhale, come on up. Back to the front. Second side. Right foot in, left foot out. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. As you bend and straighten, ribs flow down. As you bend and straighten, head held high. The next time, knee in the bent position, pause there. Hip your hips part way. Hand to knee, hand to hip. Sweep your upper arm forward and through. A little peek up at your ceiling. Inhale up, back to the front. First side again, left foot in, right foot out. Exhale, bend, maintaining the dynamic alignment of central channel. And then taking that central channel from the vertical to the diagonal, this time deeper. Elbow to knee, hand to the hip. Upper arm up, and then turn your nose to the floor and breathe. Inhale up, back to the front. Right foot in, left foot out. Exhale, bend. Exhale, tip. Elbow to knee, hand on the hip. Upper arm up, then turn your nose to the floor. A few breaths here. Inhale up, back to the front, and step your feet together. Rib connection, head held high. Shoulders a little bit up, a little bit back, almost imperceptibly down. So let's walk. Bring your hands to your hips. Take your left foot back a little bit. And then lift your left heel to propel forward. Descend your left heel to draw back. Inhale. Exhale. Next time that back heel's up in the air, let's pause there. Keep that lift in the front of your pelvis. And then telescope your left heel back and down. And see if you can do so without arching your lower back. And that's going to give you the most openness in the front of the hip, where so many people tend to have constriction. Bring both arms forward. Let your chest relax back to help open your upper back. Into your upper back, big deep inhale, fill that space. And exhale, arms up, chin up. And back to standing. So let's walk second side. Start with hands on your hips. Take your right foot back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Next time that back heel lifted, let's pause there. Keep that lift in your pelvis. As you then reach your right heel back behind you and down to the floor. Because the front of the hip tends to be tight, it's really easy to arch the lower back here. See if you can keep that length in your lower back. And once that heel contacts the floor, bring both arms forward. Let your chest relax into the space behind you. And all that breadth between your shoulder blades. Inhale, fill that space. Exhale, arms up, chin up, and breathe. And back to standing. Triangle. Start with your hands on your hips. Step your feet wide apart. Turn your left foot in, right foot out. Left foot a little bit more in, so you face toward the side. Then facing toward the side, both legs more or less straight. Fold from your hips. See if you can keep that central channel straight line alignment. For me, I'm going to turn away from the camera. For you all, turn away from your screen. And then the arm that ends up closest to the floor, bring that hand maybe to your knee or to your shin and lengthen your spine. Lengthen as you turn. Couple breaths here. And ride the next inhale up, back to the front. Second side. Right foot in, left foot out. Right foot a little bit more in. Now facing to the opposite side of your room. Front leg, back leg more or less straight. Fold from your hips. Then turn away from your screen. The arm that ends up closer to the floor, that same side hand comes across. Turn and breathe. And inhale up, back to the front. Fold from your hips. And fold from your spine. Let your head hang. Hands maybe come to the floor, maybe to your shins. Breathe. And then roll your spine up nice and slowly. Give your blood pressure a chance to catch up. If you come up quickly and feel lightheaded, it may seem like a religious experience, but it's just low blood pressure. Step your feet back together, and let's take a few sun salutations, each one adding a layer, adding a step. So begin with the out breath, knit those ribs. Keep that connection. Inhale, arms to the side up. Then exhale, mobilize your spine, arms to the side as you fold. And then inhale, gorilla. Hands can either be on the floor or your shins. Exhale, fold. Roll up, mobilize your spine. Arms to the side, up as you do so. Exhale, arms down. Now we're going to add a layer to that. Inhale up, same as before. Exhale, fold, same as before. Inhale, head forward, same as before. Now a little bit different. Exhale, step your feet back into yoga pose, head down dog. We'll take a few breaths here. And exhale, step your feet forward, back to gorilla. Inhale here. Exhale, fold, let your head hang. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, arms down. Now let's add a layer to that. Inhale, arms to the side up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, gorilla. Exhale, step back. Here for the in-breath. Exhale to straight arm plank. You've done this one already. Here for the in-breath. Exhale, back, head down, up. Inhale, step forward, gorilla. Exhale, fold. All the way up, ride the inhale. Arms to the side, exhale. Same thing. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, gorilla. Exhale, back to dog. Exhale, straight arm plank. Stay for the in-breath. Exhale, back. Inhale, gorilla. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. Exhale down. Now, something similar, but ending up on the ground. At your ribs. Exhales facilitate that connection. The best you can, keep that flow down, that connectedness. As you inhale, lift up to the sky. Exhale, fold. Inhale, gorilla. Exhale, back. Then with the next exhale, come down to your knees. Sweep your legs forward and through any which way. End up in sitting. Knees bent, feet flat upon the floor. Take your two sitting bones, root them down so they can lift up through the crown of your head. All the same fundamentals. Bring your left foot forward. Right foot a little bit closer in. Left arm comes around. Right arm comes back behind. Now that bent knee, that same side sitting bone tends to hike up off the floor. Telescope that right sitting bone down as you lift tall up through the crown of your head. To keep that length in your spine, space between your vertebrae as you turn. Back in toward the middle. Back the knees bent, feet flat upon the floor. Root down to lift up. Take your right foot forward. Left foot a little closer in. Right arm across, left hand behind. Now it tends to be that left sitting bone that hikes up, isn't it? So reach that left sitting bone down out of your rib cage. Lengthen your side flank. Then from that rootedness, lift up through the crown of your head. And keeping all that good space between your vertebral bodies. Then rotate. Back in toward the middle. Both feet forward. So knees pressing down. Your capacity, fold from your hip socket. Then your lower back, upper back, and neck. So you end up looking down between your legs. And bring your hands forward, maybe to your knees, maybe to your shins, maybe even forward toward your feet. And breathe. And roll on up. And have a seat, maybe on the floor, maybe on the stool, maybe on the cushion. So everything we worked on thus far, ribs down, head up, central core axis body alignment, lengthen your out breath. If you're looking to calm the mind, that's the primary thing to remember. Deep breathing rarely calms the nervous system, because mostly what people do is focus on the in-breath, which is inherently stimulatory. So each breath cycle, spend a little bit more time in the out-breath than you do on the in-breath. That helps calm an upregulated autonomic nervous system. And calming the nervous system can help reduce anxiety. I don't know about you, but the time really flew here today. So we have the chat going. Before we close for the day, any comments, any questions that have cropped up in the chat? Looks quiet out there. Well, thanks so much. We do this every Saturday, and let's plan on doing this again next week. Same time, same place. Thank you all for coming.